All right. Hi. This is going to be my series then, part 2. But you don't worry that it's part 2. You can listen to it as a standalone. I always want to make my videos so if anyone comes across it, it's coming across to you at the right time. So you can just trust that. My name is Dr. Cheryl Meyer, and I'm a psychologist and a life coach and like a mystic teacher. I'm part Cherokee Indian. So I get visions and I'm open to that from God, Yeah, and I help people navigate through their spiritual awakening because all of life is a spiritual awakening. Because we're souls here. And we agreed to forget what we were so that we would re-find that, I think, And so welcome. What this series right now, what I'm talking about is based on a vision that I got about 2 years ago. I got a vision during a meditation, and I was in a Greek temple. It's a Greek temple in Turkey, but it doesn't matter. Don't worry. Don't worry about where I got it. You can. It was a place where they would go to get oracles. But I had prayed and prayed and talked to like a Greek Orthodox archbishop and all these people about like, is this okay for me to go to this place? Is this my calling? I had to struggle with all of that. So you guys use your own discernment for everything, What happens is that we are all souls connected to God. And we'll all get information in different ways. So it's so halted because it's like maybe this is an important message, and it's having this difficulty flowing through me right now. Let me just be present again. Sometimes, okay, so let's just notice. This is what I do with my clients. Let's just notice what's happening. We can be present with what's happening right now with me so I can teach you guys how to do this. Like, I didn't know this was going to be our lesson on that. It's like, if I just observe and it's like, what is going on? Why is it so difficult? Because it's easy for me to communicate. I could like start singing a song right now, and that's easy to communicate. I could, talk to you about roller skating, and I would light up, and it would be awesome. It's just with religious things, there's so many taboos, and there's just so much baggage that people have on top of that. And I don't want us to go into that baggage. I don't want us to be triggered to go into, religious dogma or something. People, they get an idea that I am this, it's like, if I am punk rock, then I have to like wear a mohawk and I have to do this. Or if I listen to Elliot, Elliot was a friend of mine, Elliot Smith, then I have to like look indie and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, so like, let's just get beyond that. But people are still drawn in because of images and, a look of a certain way, or, or they get pushed out because they get triggered from religious sounding stuff. So let's just go with the vision that I was given, you know, and not go around that. But what I was teaching you just now is how to get out of these kinds of situations, is just observe what's happening. Notice that you are the observer. I am not this personality that's talking right now to you guys. I am the observer that can go, what's going on? Oh, I have blocks, I have resistances because I'm going into a new territory right here that I haven't gone on yet in my my YouTube channel and the platforms where I put these. So I have my own difficulties for going in here, and I could just edit all of this out and get right to the, you know, the gist of what is important to be conveyed. And you're welcome to fast forward to that. I don't know where it is yet because I haven't made it. But this is an important part of the journey as well, for you guys to learn, like, I'm doing my best to convey the knowledge. I have so much knowledge that's been given to me, and I want to give it to you guys in an organized way and in a way that's accessible to you, so that you can live a purposeful life and understand why you're here. And maybe I just need to relax, you know, not take it so seriously. But it's so serious to me what I'm conveying to you. So let me just get into it, okay? So the vision that I had was, I just got this impression that we are all kings and queens and priests and priestesses. Now, the vision was more raw than that. It was, but it's conveying that. So I'm putting it into words. It's like if you get all these pictures, let's say you get 1,000 pictures at once, and you're trying to find the words to express what those pictures, see, I have my own filter of what I'm experiencing from those visions. Okay, so anyway, if we are souls here, we are the consciousness. We are representing God in this world. We are a priest. If I had like a list of what makes up a priest, but I don't have to have a list right now because I'm going on what was presented to me, and that's enough, you know. So in part one, I started playing a sermon that I heard yesterday from this guy named Andrew Masters, and I asked him permission. Hey, can I use this for my videos, for my platform to teach people? He said, sure, go ahead. I've known him for years. And so, and I trust, see, I have this trust that the Holy Spirit will speak through people that are dedicated through a sacrament to God. Now, sometimes even the priests that crucified Christ, he spoke at one of the meetings they were talking about. He said something like, isn't it more expedient for one person to die for many than for many to die, or something like that? He even spoke and was on the side of crucifying Christ, but he spoke truth. So it's like, because of their vocation, they're lined up so that even if they are not doing what is good, the good and the truth will still prevail. It will still prevail. And it's so strange to me because, you know, in our society, it's like, you know, it's different than that. You know, it's important that someone has a good character and someone anyway, I just believe that I'm like, love is love. God is love, and God is always wanting to communicate with us. And what I see my role is to help us learn, to help myself and help you guys at the same time learn. What are we here for? Who are we? What is this life is about? How can we align to our highest selves? What does that mean? How can we heal? How can we not be caught up in all of these things we've been so caught up in that lead us to so much heartbreak, you know? I don't want people to be heartbroken anymore. And I'm finally moving out of that energy and recognizing that I was addicted to that energy before. I didn't realize how much I was addicted to it. So I don't want us to just stay in our minds, and I don't want us to pretend. I don't want myself. You guys can do whatever you want, but welcome here. You're here for a reason. To just pretend like we're religious people, and get in the idea of that, like I'm punk rock, I'm religious, I'm this. It's really about, who am I? Who is your soul? And how can your soul find nourishment here and be alive and be awake and be purposeful and be creative? How can you connect to your own goals, not goals, your own gifts that you have inside of you and act in those in this world? So this is what was coming up in that sermon. And so I envisioned, like, you know, having it and editing it and having all these beautiful photos while we listen to him, and like, but that, I don't think that's ever, it's just not going to get done, because I have so many other things going on in my life that it's just like, let's just get the raw material out to you and have you listen to it in the last video. I'll link to it while I'm just sitting here, you know, here's beautiful images. All right, so just, you know, you can listen to this while you're in your car or wherever you are. It doesn't have to have all of that visual. It's just, let's get to more of the gist of this. So my kid, when he was little, he said something like, Mom, you know, he was like 5 or something. I didn't teach him this. I didn't teach him this with words, and he didn't get it taught to him. He said, he's like, but Mom, don't you know we're all kings and queens in heaven? I'm like, what are you talking about, you know? And he was like 5 or 6 or something. He's like, Mom, you know, talking to me about how he would go up to heaven at night and talk to God, you know? And so I call it like just soul downloads. Like, kids will see these things before we give them the words to filter that out and interpret it a different way. And so to me, that's just a confirmation of like, our souls know who we really are. And then I got that vision when I was clear, and I was just asking God, you know, what do you want me to know? You know, basically like that. I was just in a very open place. And then it happened to be yesterday, Andrew, you know, who our souls are connected, you know, because he's been in this class with me for 4 years now, or more than 4 years. I'm a licensed lay priest. I'm licensed that way as well. Priestess, I guess you want to call it, or people call it a pastor or whatever. But but I don't care about titles. That's why I hardly use them. I don't even bring that up. But it is part of my vocation. It's part of my role. It's part of, you know, I'm like, there was a ceremony, not a priest ceremony where I'm ordained, but I'm in this order. It's an order. So there's part of a calling and an anointing that goes with that. And so maybe that's why it's important for me to convey this part. Now, if you guys aren't interested in this part of my teaching, then go to my other videos where there's music and you learn through songs, or you just get my consciousness through a song. It gets conveyed to you subconsciously, or you know, through love or whatever. But if you want to know, you know, right here where we're going through more organized teaching with the mind, then sometimes our logical mind needs all of it. This is why I'm presenting all of it. I have the new man, which is an esoteric series that I have on a book that I'm reading from the 1800s that's really good. I have Awakening Your Intuition with Lucy from Narnia. I have all the music that will speak to us a different way. Just pick and choose which resonates with you or which comes up for you. And I have all of those walks when I'm in nature. A lot of those are about healing old wounds. But I'm noticing more and more, the more that you get into your soul self and know yourself as soul and not as personality, the more you don't have to spend all this extra time healing this and healing that and healing that. Just know yourself as soul. And then you're in this consciousness so much more that brings healing to all of those different areas. Let me draw a picture for us. And I'll go back. Oh, good. I see Mary. Just a second. I'll show you Mary. Like, thank you, Mary. She's showing us. All right. So look at Mary in this candle, this $2 candle, she has the crown on, and she has her celestial type robe. See how it has stars on it, and she's shining, right? And let's see if she's stepping on. Christ is holding her up on this one. Some of them, Mary is stepping on the snake, overcoming the snake. So it's such a good image of our, and I also was drinking out of my Wonderland glass, but it's another image. Look how she has the celestial stars, right? And she has this on her third eye, the star, and she has the lasso of truth, right? And she is a princess Diana. She is a princess from that island. There's, wow. So let me draw a picture real quick. I'll put a heart on this. All right, here. Let's organize this, right? So look, let's say you're here, you are as a soul, and we have all this programming from childhood, and the programming is like overlaid over this, right? And so what the programming does, it affects our relationships with other people. Let me write relationships. Let me write work. Let me write affects us in our car, our home, our finances, our children, our hobbies. And so here we are, okay? And we can have all these different experiences in our relationships. And let's say we have problems with our spouse or something, and then they have problems in their life, and they have problems, and, or we have difficulties with our children, and then our children have problems, or what. We don't have to keep focusing on all the problems, right? But, or like our finances are great, let's just be positive here. And our home is clean and organized, or whatever. Our car is organized and gets us to where we want it to go. What we want to do is, here's our business, and how is that flowing, right? Here's our hobbies. Here's roller skating. Oh, I fell the other night, and it's like, but I'm still going, and that keeps me in flow and keeps me balanced. And, exercise, whatever. All right. So what happens is, if you know who you are and you're back in your soul here, then who you are, knowing who you are and living from that peaceful, quiet, true, sincere, honest, deep place it affects all of these different areas of our lives. And so people come to me as a psychologist and they want to keep working on all these different areas. You know, help me with my finances, help me with my house, help me with my kids, help me with my relationships. I don't like, they don't often help me with my hobbies, but that's just an aspect of our lives, you know? And so we could go forever. We could go forever in all these different areas. And so I want to understand my own life, and I want to help teach you guys how to understand your life. So what I do best I can is to keep streamlining this to understand, what are we here for? What are we doing? How can we align with who we truly are? Why did we come here? How do I help myself awaken to what I came here for, and to fulfill that, to do that, to already be that? I am that. I am that. I am a soul. That's what I was saying at the end of the last video. You can go back to that if you want. Is that, yeah, you can go back, you can listen to that sermon like 8 different times, but just be in your soul self, and you'll hear different things. What I was going to do was I was going to break it down so that you could hear what I'm getting in the spirit, so you can learn how to listen to your own spirit, your own soul revelation. Not so that you know, it's like beyond the sermon. Like, the sermon has really good information in it, but it's like me also training you how to listen to your own soul. I'm here to help people awaken their own intuition, and that's just my calling. And your own intuition is intuition, inner knowing, your inner knowing. And because I believe we're all made in the image and likeness of God, and we all have that capacity. But our society keeps us so wrapped up and busy in all these other things. And our personality self will keep us wrapped up in all these other things, because we are under the illusion that if I just get my finances, if I win the lottery, everything's going to be great. But you know what? If I don't know how to live from my soul, then if I let people walk all over me because I have that old pattern from childhood and I don't know how to get out of that pattern, then my finances will just drain into their bank accounts. You know, that's just how it happens. I can get a new exercise regime all started up and work with a trainer, and that does help change my physiology, helps me experience myself in a different way. So that can help. But if I don't know myself as soul, then sometimes those things are short-lived, or, you know, I don't know what the percentage is, like 80% of people, or I don't know what the percentage is, don't quote me on that, will lose the weight and gain it back, you know, because they don't know yet themselves to be their soul. They're just doing it for another temporary ego gain. It's just like I, you know, go meet another person and I'm dating, and I enter into the same pattern of relating, that a destructive pattern that I learned from my own childhood, from my parents, from my examples, from my programming, from what I've taken in as programming. If I apply that to this new thing, then, you know, I don't want to be negative here. I just want us to understand, like, this is why I work so hard to just get to the bottom of who are we? Who are we? Who are you? So let's go back to this vision. We'll just go with the vision for now, because I can't, as much as I would like to put everything in one video, that's why sometimes my videos are so long, because I wanted to put it all in one video. Let me just put a limit on this now. I'm just going to make this 33 minutes, all right? So I'll just, and that 33 is a number of Christ. I'm not saying it for any other reason right now. That's just what's coming to me, because Christ died at the age of 33. And so they call it the Christ number, but I'm not trying to reference anything else. I just wanted an end stopping point so that we know how long we have to talk about this stuff. So in the vision that I saw is we are all kings and priests. And I was like, what does that mean? Well, if Christ here, let's just look at Christ as this example. They call him, the Orthodox call him the God-man. Like, God became man so that man could become God. It's a process called theosis. And so if Christ showed us the highest way to live as a priest here on earth, or a priestess, and he did that to the fullest in the person of Jesus Christ, then it's like I am the person with the personality called Cheryl Meyer, Dr. Cheryl Meyer, whatever. And so how can I use the gifts given to me on this earth? And how can you access the gifts that they're given to you? I love what Andrew was saying. He was saying that the mistake was thinking that they were God and thinking those gifts were their own. It's really just like, if I'm a soul and I am this fullness of consciousness, or I'm like the drop of the ocean and I connect myself back to the ocean, then it's like all this love and all this power from the ocean can come through me. I am like a conduit of that. But it's not that the ocean is all mine, or that I am the whole ocean, but in that moment, I feel like I am the whole ocean. And so it's like I often will say, it's like when we plug back into God, then it's like we're plugged in, and all of that electricity and that current can flow through us. And so there are different gifts in the spirit of teaching, of prophesying, of all of these things. There's lots and lots of videos that people have on the gifts of the spirit. But let's just, so he said, this is what was just highlighted for me, and I'm mixing that in with the vision that I was given, is he said, representatives of God to all creation. This is called a priest. And so the word represent is represent. We're representing God as consciousness, as souls on this earth. And we all have gifts inside of us. Who was saying that? An old monk. I don't know what religion this came from. I can't remember at the moment. But he was saying that it's like you're sitting on a box of gold and you're begging, and you don't realize you're begging, because when you stay in your egotism self and your present day personality self, you just keep thinking, I need to fix this, I need to fix this. And we run around trying to fix all these things. And it's like, when you learn how to live in your soul, as a soul, remembering your vocation as a representative of God, then, thank you. I'm like, Holy Spirit, look, be present, stay present in presence. All right, I can just spend the rest of the time. Thank you for that teaching on that. If God is presence, God is love. You find this love when you're present. But I'll write it down here on our notepad. I just saw it when I was saying it. Re-present. We're representing God. This is my symbol for God. All right? Because God is so much above words that, anyway, we represent God. So part of the job of priests was to keep themselves as, and a priestess was to keep themselves as a clear channel for divine love to work through them, to speak through them. That's why Teresa of Avila has that quote that says, Christ has no body now but ours, no hands now but ours. He speaks through us, works through us. And so as you align with your soul self and know yourself as love, then that love flows through you to other people. And the way for us to do that is to learn how to do what you're doing right now. Is as tedious as this particular video might be, you know, it's helping you look at how can I be disciplined to not get caught up in thinking that if I keep putting out all these fires, that's what's going to fix my life. No, if I learn who I am as a soul, and how to stay present. When I'm present and can enter into that stillness and that quietness of God and know what that means, that we're co-heirs with Christ. We become grafted in as brothers, as sisters, in some kind of a royal calling, as priests. If I don't know my calling, then I'll go with every calling of the day. I will go with, you know, oh, this person's calling me to do this. This person's calling me to that. It's just like if 12 people were calling you right now. You have different parts of yourself calling for your attention to go to all these different places. As you remember that you are a soul, you can realign yourself with your soul's purpose and your soul's beingness. You are this. You are this soul. I'm just watching the clock ticking. All right. I'm going to make a part 3 after this because I'm still in this mindset. And I want this message to get out. But I'm just breaking it up.